This is your boy DJ Leon D, and on this channel we talk about travel, money, and lots of cooking. Three things I know quite a bit about. I'm not an expert at anything. Nope, not an expert. I just been around a long time and know a lot. Let's get it on. Good morning, family. This is your boy DJ Leon D. And when I travel, I like to go to cities and try all the food and tell you if the food is good or bad based on my experience, not your experience, but I tell you the way it is and the way it should be, and I'm going to tell you so you can save your money or spend your money and have a good experience. Now, I go to Rochester, New York about once every 2 to 3 years. And, I've eaten at a lot of different places, and I was really not that impressed. But here today, I'm going to answer a question for you. Is Rochester a foodie city? I'm going to answer it. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was never really impressed with Rochester in the past. So, because the food was kind of limited into what your choices were. But, I'm happy to say that this time out, Rochester surprised me. They surprised me in a lot of different ways because I went to some of the areas that had been, I guess, re-gentrified, and I had hung out with my cousin. And he was taking the places that he go to, and he's not a yuppie or hippie or anything like that. He hangs out in the better places in Rochester. Just say it that way. But I was surprised that when you go to Rochester, maybe it was just my blindness, but I went to some places and the food was very good. And they had a lot more options than they had in the past. I mean, a lot more options. Let me tell you. People talk about things and places that have been around a long time. Let me tell you about places that have been around a long time. The past don't mean shit if the food ain't good today. And some places got reputations because the original owners, not because the current owners. And a lot of times you end up with the kids or somebody done bought them out and they want to change things and maximize the profit. Everything's a little bit different. But let me tell you some places I went to that I was really impressed. And one thing I always talk about on this channel, I try to go to cities and, with diversified people in all races, all colors, because when you got diversified people, then you got diversified food. I talked about Helsinki and other places. Everybody looks the same. Everybody eats the same. And, so you're not going to get diversified foods if the entire population of that city is the exact same. It just can't happen. And then when people do cook something that is not native or for that particular type of people, generally it's not good because you got somebody who's native cooking food from a different culture. And that's just not good. I found out living around the world, that's just not something that I like. But Rochester, I like the fact that they got German food, they got Italian food, they got brew houses, they got steaks, they got Brazilian food, and they got barbecue, which is just well-rounded. Now, I didn't see a lot of food from the Mediterranean, but I did see a few Lebanese places, but they were small, look like little dumps. And now you get some of your best food in the world in little dumps. But these places had seating for like 6 people. Nah, that's not a restaurant. That's a cafe. I like a restaurant. They got seating for 50 people or more. Now, let me tell you about some of the places I went to that really impressed me with Rochester. It's a place called Black and Blue. I had one of the best steaks I had in months. I'm talking about a great steak. Black and Blue, and the prices were well below what I call average. I'm thinking of a 8 ounce or 7 ounce filet mignon. Up here, they run them about, $80, $90 easily. This place here, they were like $45, $50. I was just shocked. And the wait staff was very good. I mean, they were very attentive. They were good. And they cook your steak the way you expect to get it when you order it. It wasn't a hockey puck or all red in the middle. No. They did a real good job. Now, here's a place that a lot of locals love. Now, they like Black and Blue, but they love dinosaur barbecue because Rochester do not have a big barbecue scene. So the competition is limited. And sometimes when the competition is limited, what you think is the best they have, it might be because they don't have a whole lot. They don't have a whole lot. Now, one place I went to was the Genesee Brew House. That is kind of like it's a brewery before it's a restaurant. And when you get that, then you know that the focus is on the beer. Now, whether you got 5 beers on tap or 500, I don't care because I don't drink beer. But I went there with the cousin, and I said, okay, I may as well eat while he drinks his beer because he likes the combination. But it's more of a happy hour weekend place for the locals. But the food is not bad at all. The menu is very, very small. And my attitude on that is if you're going to have a small menu, every damn thing got to be good because the chef is not asked to remember a lot. He's not asked to remember a lot. He's not a brain surgeon. He ain't got to remember a whole lot. But it's worth the money and it's not bad. And if you like beer, it's even better. Now, the one place I went to, a place called Polizzi's. Polizzi. Polizzi. They got some great Italian food, and Mama G's got even better. I was surprised at how many Italian restaurants Rochester has. I really was. They got quite a few of them. Now, I went to Mama G's and Polizzi's, and I really enjoyed their food. And when I go to an Italian restaurant, the last thing I'm gonna get is a damn pizza. Pizzas don't impress me. I can get a pizza anywhere. I've been to Italy twice. So, I don't go for the pizza. I go for the other things because the other things are really individually based, depending on the restaurant that you're in. And a lot of times they have the local owners cooking the food. A pizza, go to Domino's, go to Pizza Hut. I don't need none of that. I like the foods that I cannot get at Domino's and Pizza Hut. Now, one place I really, really liked a whole lot, and it might be the best place in Rochester. They have a Texas de Brazil. The last time I went, they didn't have one of those. But they got one in Buffalo and they got one in Rochester. The one in Rochester, I always like Brazilian style dining anyway. And I've been to Fogo de Chao many times, many different cities. I've been to Texas de Brazil and Panama. I've been to it here in Miami. I've been to many of them. But in Rochester, they stand out. And one of the things I like about it is that the location and the parking is just abundance. And they're right in the heart of the medical district. Now, Rochester's got some world-class hospitals. And they got some huge training facilities in the hospitals. That's why people go there. A lot of people go there but don't stay because, they go for training. But they are now building these restaurants to support that kind of clientele. Because in Texas de Brazil, when I got there was like maybe 10 people. By the time I left, an hour and a half later, the whole place had every seat taken. So everybody's seeing what I'm seeing, but they just got good food in general. There's nothing bad. The only thing bad about Texas de Brazil, and I'm not going to knock them for this, because when it says steakhouse, I don't go for the sides, but I like a decent side. But this place, in this case, the sides they were average, and they had salads, and I love a good salad, but they didn't have any decent dressing. I don't want Caesar dressing on everything. No, give me 8 or 9 options, especially for the price point that I was gonna pay. Just give me decent dressing, and that is just the complimentary part that I want for my meal. So I'm saying that, but other than that, everything, and I love lamb. Everything they gave was just top notch and cooked to perfection. Every little thing you can imagine. And I like when you ain't gotta wait for the waiter. They walk past you. You want some of this, you want some of that. And that's one thing I like about that style of restaurant. I ain't gotta look for you, I ain't gotta hunt for you. Sit quiet, they're gonna come around and you're gonna be all right. Now, saying that, we went to a place called the Swan Market. I was impressed the fact that it was all European food, primarily German, but it was all European food. and I just love that option. And they had authentic German menu and some other European things, but primarily German. And they do most things the way they do it in Germany, because I've been there before too, many times. I actually lived there. But the thing that impressed me the most was that they do it almost like the Germans do it. Now, I tell people all the time, it's hard to get the same food in this country that you get in another country. One of the main reasons why is that not all of the seasonings and all the ingredients are going to be exact same unless you import it. And then you got to know it's being imported by the price and the advertisement, because they're going to brag about it. So you can bet on that. They're going to damn sure brag about it. And the price is going to be more because, import is import. But they had all the German stuff. But the one thing they did not have, and they may have now, apple strudel. If you want me to think that you are authentic German when it comes to desserts, give me a German dessert. And they didn't have apple strudel, which is one of the most common ones in Bavaria. I'm not seeing it in all of Germany, but I did get it everywhere I went to in Germany. Every little city had, Bavarian, style restaurants or whatever. But they had the typical bratwurst, all that kind of stuff. So that was not bad. But they do those small links, look like sausages in America, look like Jimmy Dean. I don't know damn Jimmy Dean looking sausage in a German restaurant. I like the big long ones, like a hot dog almost. I like that style of a bratwurst. That's just me. Now, I ain't saying that style for everybody, but for me, that's what I like, what it look like, the way it looks in Germany. Or on, the Christmas market. I like for my bratwurst to look a certain way. I don't want an American version of it, especially when I'm paying European style prices. But they had a little everything for everybody. And if you didn't find something you want, Rochester is just really, really taking off. Now, out of every place I went to in Rochester restaurants, this right here is my favorite. Well, actually, Texas de Brazil is my favorite. This is my second favorite, my second choice. A place called Nosh. If you ever get a chance to go there, go to Nosh. It gets that after happy hour type crowd. They have a happy hour that starts and stops around 6 o'clock or whatever it was. But you get that crowd that people say, I went here to drink, but I want to eat over here. Well, Nosh got both of them. They got both of them. They got great alcohol choices, and they got excellent food. Small menu, maybe 2 pages at the most, but what they cook is good. It's very, very good. So you get it, and plus it's located in a nice place with plenty of parking too. And see, I bring up parking because sometimes up in the Northeast, you go to a nice restaurant and you thinking, okay, it's $70-$80 a person, and then you come in, by the time you figure in parking, you don't spend $100 extra. I mean, $20 extra just for the parking for dinner, and that kind of turns me off. Because you're gonna build a restaurant, build a damn place to park at. That's just simple. Build somewhere to park at, and you know what? You will get my attention. But when you go out, I need to have an idea what I'm gonna spend, because you never know what your wife or your girlfriend or whoever you're going with. You never know if they're gonna drink and what it's gonna cost if you invited them. Now, I can say the same thing. If you invite me, I don't know what I'm gonna drink that day and how much of it, but I know it's not gonna be alcohol free. So when you invite me, you need to tack on a couple of zeros, on those dollar bills that you finna pay out, because I'm gonna enjoy myself. But when I invite you, I expect the same thing. But go to Nosh. Nosh got a very, very good wine menu. They got very, very good food, and really, there's no drink you want that you can't get from there. Everything I could think of, they had on the menu. I like when the food is 1 page and the menu is 5 pages, because now it's a damn bar. You can call what you want to call it. It's a bar. Now, one place that I went to, and it was nice, it was good, and a lot of locals go there. That's Genesee Brew House. You get a chance, go to Genesee Brew House. But like I said, it's more of a weekend thing or a happy hour thing. But I like places where the crowd is not too loud, or there's no, you can have a conversation, talk, and hear one another without yelling. I like those kind of crowds. That's just me. But if you get a chance, go there and just chill out and have a good time. And plus the crowd was, I like also when I go to places, no matter where it's located at, I like a diverse crowd. I don't want to see all color. I don't like my food all color. I like seeing diversity in everything I do, because I feel that you really get to know an area and know people when everybody's a little bit different. You know, young, old, not too many old people, because, you know, but you know, not nobody trying to get smashed drunk. They out there to have a good time. They're not trying to get smashed drunk like a lot of, you know, some bars, like when I went to Nashville, some bars, it just honky tonk. They just trying to see how many beers they can drink before they pass out, or how many beers they can drink and drive home, and you on the road too, you know. But everybody's a little bit different, you know. But I like more the mid to upscale type restaurants, because I'm not gonna see a lot of damn kids. I don't want to see mine, yours, or anybody else's. You know, I'm not gonna see a lot of kids, so there's no option for someone crying and wailing in the middle of the damn night. No, take them home, put them to bed, smack them real good, they'll sleep real good, and then the next day tell them you love them. That's what I used to do. Just tell them you love them the next day after you smack them. You ain't smacking because you hate them. You smacking them to help them sleep better. You know, but so I don't know where Rochester's gonna go next, but I know that most of the restaurants are spread out all over the city, which I like. They're not all in one area. You know, now don't get me wrong, most of them are in the same, you know, little driving area, 5 minutes apart at the most, but they're not all in one part. And then you go to another part of the city, all you see is the hood. No. The hood got restaurants too. Now, it may not be safe to get to them and get from them, but they got them too. But in Rochester, they're not all together and stuff. You know, it's kind of like going to Brooklyn, New York. They got them all over Brooklyn, and sometimes you say, okay, that's 5 minutes from here, that's 10 minutes from here. But they got everything you want. But Rochester actually is a nice foodie city, especially for a city the size of Rochester. Rochester might have 300,000 people, and it's the third biggest city in New York. But they got a nice offering for a city that size. They actually surprised me. Kind of reminds me of Mobile when it came to, you know, food to eat in Mobile. Mobile is not very diverse, but they got some of the best soul food you're ever going to see or you're ever going to taste in your life. But Rochester has a little everything, and I already thought that I would have to go to Buffalo to get anything, you know, decent. But Rochester had exactly what I wanted, and at a price point I wanted. They had every little thing you can want, you know. So if you get a chance and you're in the area, go to Rochester, have some good food. Now, the one thing in Rochester I did not try, and I thought about it, was seafood, because, you know, it's on the Ontario, you know, Lake Ontario. But I live in Maryland. We got seafood every damn where. I don't know what they're gonna have that I'm not gonna have. You know, but you know, every fish is a little bit different depending on the breeding grounds and breeding waters. It's kind of like, you know, a lot of my uncles with kids, you know, every kid's a little bit different. Normally because they got a different mother, you know, so every kid's a little bit different and stuff, you know. The only thing they got in common is him. And so that part ain't gonna change, but the mother makes everything a little bit different. Some are fun, some are smart, and some are just dumb as hell, but you know, he's the common denominator, so I gotta take all the blame on him. But so take a chance. Go up to if you go to Niagara Falls. I know you might want to go to Buffalo. Don't go out of your way to go to Rochester. But if you get a chance to go to Rochester for any reason, whatever have you, you know, check out some of the nice restaurants. You know, I seen a couple of mom and pops, and I didn't really get a lot of time with them because, like I said, I like mid to high, and my cousin like high in restaurants. But we had a blast though. We really enjoyed ourselves. And Rochester's gonna fool you if you think it's not a foodie city. They got a little everything, you know, for the most part. Are they in the top 10? Hell no. But are they some places that I would like to go again? Oh, I'm going again in 3 years. Because every time I go back, they done added a nice restaurant. Some are chains, some are local. They have added something that I didn't see before. And now I'm curious about, because Rochester is not a place that you really want to be in the wrong part of town. And on my video called The Old School Travelers, I'm going to tell you about Rochester and my thoughts on Rochester if you were to go there permanently. I'm going to tell you that, or even you go there temporarily. But this is about food. And I got really nothing to say negative about Rochester food. I really don't have anything to say negative. You know, every city got the same chains and all this and all that. But Rochester is doing better And they actually got damn good steakhouses, Italian food. They got some Greek foods there. So they got a lot of foods that you would like. You got no excuse to not go, at least go visit them. But this is your boy DJ Leon D saying, Rochester is definitely a foodie city dream.